independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
So when I arrived on scene, the vehicle was rolled over onto the driver's side door, so there was no way to open the door, and he was still seatbelted in. When I got there, I made the decision, because I was able to get my upper body through the windshield, and I determined that he was alert enough and not a medical condition that necessitated me extracting him myself. And I decided to wait for the fire department. They have the tools and the training, and they're the real experts, so I decided to wait for them.
As the first responder on scene yesterday, Tiger Woods crash. And it's weird, you know, it was this kind of surreal situation of a year ago almost. We were in a similar situation. High-profile athlete, one had just retired, still younger than Tiger, and then, Kobe Bryant, the crash, the whole 9 yards, not too far away from actually where this took place. And this took place in an area that, having grown up in and around, living in Southern California most of my life, this area is notorious for speeders. It's also a place that is very windy and can get foggy at times. But it is notorious. People love to go there. Take the sports cars, take the cars, they zoom in and around. I'd be lying if I didn't say I have done it in the past with my friends and I when we were younger, because as you all know, when you're younger, you're invincible. But it was a surreal situation. What took place? How bad was it? You know, you go back to these days, and it's always this kind of you couldn't pick this Tuesday out of any other Tuesday. And it's a Kobe Bryant. It's a Prince. It's a Michael Jackson. It's a Heath Ledger. It's it's just one of those things. And it was like, oh my God. Are you kidding me? And then, boom, started to get in. Surgery. Big time surgery. Okay. How bad is it? You know, is he going to live? Is he going to be this, that, and the other? And then the other stuff starts going through your mind. Was he hammered? You can't watch the sports and things and not understand who Tiger is, but also the trials that Tiger's been under. The average person knows exactly the things. 2017, he was arrested for what? He's in his car. He was essentially, he was just out of it, taking pain medicines. He just had surgery early January for his back, his fifth fusion of his back. This was a microdiscotomy. But they have fused his spines. You go and his Achilles, several knee surgeries for that ACL that is torn and it's never been right. And then you start calculating, and what have you done to your body? What have you done to your body? You're 45 years old. In your lifetime, and I think I'm underestimating, we were talking about it yesterday, 10 to 15 million golf shots, whether the range, the course, practice facilities. Now you couple that in with another probably 10 million practice swings, things of that nature. You can't expect the body to hold up like that. You can't. And now you've got this. Now you've got a surgery that is going to set you back in a massive, massive way as you are on the tail end of your career. But it was a surreal day yesterday. It was weird. You know, like every single TV. So we have like 4 TVs in our big studio, and we've got CNN, MSNBC, Fox, and then I always have the Golf Channel on, or TV Land. I say I have one that I can watch because I don't really care about the other 3, and all 4 of them were on this. Because I don't think people realize. You know, like you look at Tom Brady. Right? Tom Brady. In America, he's huge. His wife, Gisele's far bigger star than he is. People know maybe who he is here and there. Outside of maybe LeBron and a few others, outside of globally that people recognize, Tiger's recognized everywhere. He can't go anywhere. We always talk about, like movie stars. I always tell everybody, hey, let me tell you something. George Clooney's not a movie star. Right? He's not. Like Robert Downey Jr., nah. Tom Cruise is a movie star. He's a movie star. Tiger Woods is an icon. And now he faces a huge battle.
Woods Foundation put out a statement saying he's awake and responsive, but suffering from serious injuries, including compound fractures to both upper and lower parts of his right leg, which had a rod inserted, and his shattered foot and ankle are being held together with screws and pins.
It's very fortunate that Mr. Woods was able to come out of this alive.
Deputy Carlos Gonzalez was the first person on the scene. He says Woods was lucid and calm, and says Woods' seatbelt likely saved his life.
Yeah. Absolutely. And he was driving that new Genesis. I don't know if you guys have seen that thing. Thing's badass. Tell you what right now. I'll tell you what. So over the weekend, he hosted the Genesis Tour event, which is one of the big. So you've got the massive tour stops, like you've got the U.S. Open, you've got the PGA, you've got the Masters, obviously, and then the Open, which are majors. Then underneath there, you have like mini majors. This is one of those ones, like huge money on the line, huge prestige, little extra something if you win it. And he was like the host this weekend. And they apparently said, hey, take this thing out. And this is their new thing they were unveiling. They'd never made an SUV before. I said, man, there's your commercial, right? Like Tiger Woods. That's your commercial. This thing saved my life. Like the dude with the Subarus and the Volvos. I don't know what happened. And yesterday there was a lot of people asking questions, in particular, about whether or not he was under some sort of influence.
What are your thoughts right now?
I mean, Brianna, stunned, I guess, but not entirely surprised by, what we're seeing here. Tiger back in 2017 was found by police, pulled over the side of the road, asleep in his car. He had said he had taken a lot of painkillers at that time because we all know Tiger's undergone a lot of surgeries over the years and painkillers have become a part of his life.
Yeah. I don't think that you could not think that. Like, I'll say this yesterday. So here I am. I'm 50 years old. I get up really early. I try to work out a little bit in the morning before I get in here. I tried to take pretty good care of myself. And I went last night and I played golf for 3 hours. I probably hit 200 balls, 300 balls, who knows what. I putted a lot. I got into my hotel. I took a leave. I needed it. I don't have any bad back problems, and I'm blessed. I do have some knee issues. I can't imagine, like, the back problems that guy has. So it's fair to ask the question. That right there is Andy Scholes. He's on CNN. People are hammering. This was one of the first things that came to my mind was, because if you go back and look at that Jim Nantz interview he did on Sunday, and they're playing it over and over again, he looked fried, and he looked a bit out of it. And probably because he's running around doing a ton of things. But he did look exhausted, whatever you want to say. And I'm not trying to read anything, and I'm not trying to be a jerk, but you got to ask a question. And it's not whether or not he's actually even addicted to something. It's just getting through the day. Getting through the day. The fact that he goes out and plays golf or tries to do any of the things, it's crazy. It is. We're going to talk a lot about this. Talk about his legacy as well. If this is it, what is his legacy? What are other golfers saying about him? Because I'll tell you what right now. Every single professional golfer, every single one of them, from the Korn Ferry Tour, which is the minor leagues, all the way up to Dustin Johnson, who's number one, and Bryson and Tony Finau, all of them owe him beyond a debt, as does golf itself. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Top of all of that, good news today, rather quickly, with Johnson & Johnson.
Federal regulators said Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine meets the requirements for emergency use authorization, which could be granted as soon as Friday night. It's one dose meant for adults over 18. The vaccine was 66% effective at preventing COVID-19, but more effective, 85% at preventing severe illness. Johnson & Johnson said its vaccine works against all variants, and once authorized, the company said it could have 20 million doses by March, 100 million by June.
Which is fantastic because we want to get back to our lives. And I'm going to talk about what took place yesterday with all of this and my son, with COVID and all of these things. Because there is serious issues here about kids, school, but all of us. But the effects are massive. And I think we're starting to realize that. And then we hear stuff like Fauci coming out, well, you may have to wear these things. No. You know what? You get the vaccine and you can be respectful and you can do a lot of different things. But you're telling people, don't go see grandma and grandpa, even if they've got both shots and you've got, you know, at some point in time, there's a calculated risk we have to take in life. There is absolutely a calculated risk, which is what we do every single day. And I don't know what people expect. What do you think? People aren't going to push back? People aren't going to be over it? And I'm not even, you're going to get the people that will always push, be contrarian and push back. You're taking away this. You're taking away that. You're taking away this. My freedom's not. You're going to get that. We're long past those people. Now this is the everyday average person who's at the point where, you know what? They've done everything right. They've masked up. They listened to everything Fauci said. They've done everything. Fauci told them to go outside and pat their head and rub their hand in a circle and jump up and down. They do it if they thought it would help because they're listening to him. But they're over it. And it's coming faster and faster. And people no longer want to hear flattening the curve, saving the hospitals, masking up for this long, and they'll get past this. And they're over it. They're like, you know what? If we're going to have to live in, through, and around this thing, we're going to do it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program, Wounded Paw Project. Amazing organization. Love it. Talk about an organization. You know, so many organizations out there. You know, we're doing this, we're doing that. And you're like, how good are they? This is otherworldly. What they're doing, and they rescue dogs. They go to shelters, and they take sometimes the hard cases of dogs, and they rescue them, and they train them. And they train them for veterans, first responders, and their family. You're talking about veterans who are coming home or struggling with PTSD. With the amount of veterans that are committing suicide, on average 20-plus a day, struggling to get back into the normal day-to-day life in their transition from being in the theater of war and now, hey, voila, you're back home. It's a struggle. Some of them have injuries and PTSD. It is amazing what they do. They unite these dogs for veterans, first responders, and their family, and it is incredible. They need your help. Donate a vehicle. They don't care what it is. Like, it fly, it floats. I mean, they don't care if it's a motorcycle, if it's one of those ATVs, if it's a boat. It could be a bass boat. It could just be a boat, be a canoe. They don't care. Great tax-deductible gift. And the proceeds are going to go to use to protect, advocate, and train these dogs for our veterans, first responders, and their family. Find out how you can get involved, how you can help by going to woundedpawproject.org, woundedpawproject.org. Get involved, woundedpawproject.org. You'll be saving a paw to save a life. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
So, Tiger, 7 weeks from today, final round of the Masters. You going to be there?
Gotta hope so. I got to get there first.
You feel like
a lot of it's based on my surgeons and my doctors and my therapists, and making sure that I do it correctly. And this is the only back I got, so I don't have much more wiggle room left there.
But the plan would be maybe to get one tournament in before that, I guess?
I don't know what the plan is. The plan is right now is just to go ahead and get the MRI and see if the annulus is sealed, if it's scarred over, and then we can start progressing.
Well, we miss you, Tiger. I can tell you that on behalf of everyone that's passionate about this game.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that was Sunday. Again, he was the host of the tournament, the Genesis tournament, and you could look at him. He was exhausted, and I'm not trying to, you'd be foolish not to say, well, was he impaired? Was there something? And what I was surprised about, I talked to Alex Stone yesterday from ABC News, who was out there covering it on the ground, and I said, Alex, the thing to me that was so surprising is the fact that it happened at 7 a.m, and we didn't really hear about it till about noon or 1. And remember, this is the this is the LA County Sheriffs and everybody who, within moments of the crash of Kobe, there was stuff out there. So I found that to be really interesting. But it was, again, people cruise around, they speed, it's crazy. It's a cool place, though, that place. If you've never been there and you ever have a chance and you're going to go out to Southern California, it's just rolling hills. You've got that's a place called Rolling Hills. It is everything you would think it was. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Do love hearing from every single one of you. All that being said, coronavirus still here. So Johnson & Johnson looks like it's going to be out sooner rather than later, which is great. You've also got the Moderna and then the Pfizer and BioNTech. And the Pfizer can be stored now at just regular temperatures, pharmaceutical temperatures. What's that mean? Like when I joke about Johnson & Johnson, like put it in your refrigerator, put it in your refrigerator kind of thing. The average pharmacy is going to have one of those things where they keep it at like 0 or -5. It's just kind of a regular thing. That's there, and it's a one-shot thing, which is great. That's what, you can take a second shot, but the one shot will help you tremendously fight it. And we need to start seeing this happen because people are frustrated. People are angry. People are trying to figure out what in God's name is going on here. And when are we going to get ourselves back to a point where we feel like we can get out there and not being told, is it okay by you, Mr. Person for the government? Can I go out there now? Can my kids go back to school, Mr. Person for the government? Is that possible? Are you going to allow that to happen? What's the government going to do? There's a lot of frustration out there. There is. And we're going to talk about what took place yesterday because my son had it. He had it. He had it seriously yesterday. And as a father of, I got a 10-year-old who is like, school's important, but his education side of it is the fact that he is personable. That's kind of that was me. I mean, I went to school mostly I found education in books and learned the way that I learned, but so much of it was the interaction. And yesterday was a massive meltdown for him. We're going to talk about that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Mounting evidence suggests our economy is chomping at the bit to rebuild the prosperity we lost last year. With a truly terrible 12 months behind us, but in a better position to move forward than many experts had predicted. Now, are we destined to spend a second year in a national defensive crouch? Are we going to surrender another school year to the pandemic, another year of elevated unemployment, another year of diminished social and community life?
That's Mitch McConnell, who usually bores us to death. And he did again, but he was right. He was right in a lot of ways. The economy is chomping at the bit. People now are in a position where, first of all, and I'm not here to hammer Fauci. I mean, everybody else has done that and to do anybody good. I mean, he's all over the place. He is, like yesterday, I think he was talking to, I want to say it was like Brooke, whatever her name was, somebody, or Martha McCallum. I can't remember who it was, but they were on CNN talking about, can I go see Grandma and Grandpa, right? Like, can I go see this? Is this possible? I can go see Grandma and Grandpa. And it was so funny because he was just as non-committal as you get. People don't want the flip-flop. They don't want that. And we're not looking for all the answers. What we're looking for is to give us real answers. And everything has changed 1,000 million times with you. Well, I lied about this because I didn't want people to go out and buy the N95 mask. And then I told you guys this thing was never going to get to our shores, and then it did. And then I told you not to worry about it, and then of course it became something. And then I, along with the CDC and the World Health Organization, have flipped, and sometimes it has nothing to do with science and all to do with politics, and people are pissed.
Whenever we get new data, look at it and see if you can have some action items as a result of that. If it holds true, we're always open to considering that in people who do get infected, that they may need only one dose. But you really want to look at the data first before you make any policy decisions.
Any policy decisions. Okay, we're going to look at the data. Okay. Why is that? Well, because people are asking the question, if grandma and grandpa get the shot, and the kids who aren't getting a shot, by the way, because they're not there yet. We're not in that position. They're just starting to test. They want to go and see grandma and grandpa who've not seen them, in theory, a majority of people, for a very long time.
My parents have already gotten their second dose. They're fully vaccinated. Does that mean it's okay for them to spend time with their grandchildren who obviously have not been vaccinated?
You know, I'm not going to make a recommendation now except to say that these are things that we really do. I mean, literally every day. We look at that. We look at the data. We look at what's evolving about how many people are getting vaccinated. And there will be recommendations coming out. I don't want to be making a recommendation now on public TV.
What are you doing here? What are you doing here at this moment in time? What are you doing here? Grandma and Grandpa, I know you got the shots. So if you don't believe they're effective in the way that you want, or you're unsure, let me tell you how you figure out how you're sure. I don't know how good these things are in real life test, because the majority of people who've taken these shots, what have they done? They've lived life pretty much like everybody else. Social distancing, wearing a mask, probably not going out too much in public. It's not like you got the 2 shots. Now go put it to the test. Right? Here, wear a green shirt. Lets everybody know that you've done this. You get Pfizer stuff on. They give you a tracksuit. Oh, that's a guy who got the shot. You can tell by the tracksuit. Doesn't work. You got to put it to the test. Well, I don't. But we need to live our lives. We do. And we're not going to know unless we go. And since the beginning, I've said there's a good chance we're going to have to learn to live with this thing, through this thing, and around this thing. And everybody hammered Sweden. The way that they went about it was too nonchalant. It was too this, that, and the other. And they got it all wrong. At the end of the day, we're all fighting the same thing. And they've always said, look, I have a feeling that everybody's going to get to the same place we are. Eventually. Because you're going to have to go out and live your life. Well, one thing they've done is they've kind of lived their life. Florida's kind of done the same thing. Texas has done the same thing. By and large, Arizona here has done the same thing. Other states haven't. And guess what? A lot of those other states are in the same position. They are. But they've destroyed their economy, and kids are suffering. Well, so this is what my son was told yesterday, and he flipped. He lost his mom. Called me last night. I'm on the range. I'm hitting golf balls. And they called me last night. He was beside himself. He had lost his blank. Got an email yesterday that said they may do hybrid in April at best. That's what they're getting. At best, it will be a hybrid. Maybe a day there and then a few days at home, and maybe a day there, but not everybody's coming on the same. I mean, he lost it. Hasn't played sports. He's seen his 2 best friends twice in 13 months. He lost it last night. He'd had enough. He'd had enough. It had become too much, because it felt like that every time it turned around, it was another disappointment. Every time he turned around, he said, his mom texted me later on. I go, is he feeling better? Because he said, Dad, I want to play sports. I want to do something. I said, you know what, man? I told you couldn't play tackle football till you were 12. But if you want to try tackle right now, I know they're playing, and I'm okay with it. I'm not worried about the kids. Oh, Chad. Must mean you hate kids. Totally do. But his mom said that was great. She goes, today was awful. He's having a meltdown. Kids need structure. Kids need a lot of things. and they're not getting the things that they need. Well, it's not for them to be. No, part of it is for them to be structured in those facilities, working, doing stuff. It's not about whether or not they're babysitters. That's why, it's because parents want to be. Let me tell you something. Fine. If you want parents to teach at home, guess what? Do it. Stop taking tax dollars. Say, here's X amount of dollars. Hire private tutors to do what? To tutor and take care of your kids. And then you can be unemployed. We'll move on with our lives. I've had enough. People need some actual leadership in the sense of, I still don't know. Nobody else does, because nobody asked that GD question. Hey, June rolls around, July. Everybody's had the opportunity to get the damn shot. Everybody. But some people don't want to. Do I have to live my life based on them? I'm just curious. What do you mean I can't go to a theater? I wouldn't recommend it. Why? Then why am I getting the shot? If you're not into us living our lives again, then why am I getting? Well, it's for other people. I can't be worried about other people. At some point in time, the other people thing, they got to worry about themselves. I think most people agree with that, and most people are willing to take a calculated risk. And if you guys are having a hard time unwinding all of this because you're enjoying the fact that you get to kind of have the power where people will come to you and go, what should we do next? You're going to find out how that's going to backfire on you. You really are.
Good afternoon, Senators. I appreciate the few minutes I've been given to speak to you about this most important issue. I'm the dad of 2 children, a son in 10th grade at Salem High School, and a daughter in 9th at Canton High School. We urgently need leadership, or we, as a society, will be left with the wreckage of a lost and undereducated generation, unless you're rich or well-connected, that is. We're now on day 347 of 2 weeks to stop the spread. Day 347 of our schools being closed by the governor. Day 347 of politicians saying that teachers and their union are more important than our children.
That is a dad right there, and I love how he said, Michigan dad, saying we're at day 347 of the 2 weeks stop the spread. Day 347 of the 2 weeks to stop the spread, to flatten the curve, to do all this stuff. Now we're getting to the point where, okay, not only we've flattened the curve, I don't know how big that damn curve was. Every time we turn around, it's like, all right, we're going to do 2 weeks to stop the spread. Then it was flatten the curve. Then it was wear a mask, social distance to protect the healthcare facilities. Okay, we've done that. And then it was one of those things. Well, wait till a vaccine. Okay, now we're going to have 3 vaccines. Okay, now it's wait till we cure death. I don't go anywhere. I have cut down, and I don't go anywhere anyways. Stop going to church. I watch it online. I don't do anything. I outside of going to hit golf balls, which is the most isolationist thing you can do, right? I'm in a little area by myself hitting golf balls, sometimes for 2 or 3 hours. Haven't gone to a movie in 13 months. I have not eaten at a restaurant in 13 months. And yeah, I could have, but I respect the people around me, and I know some of them have compromised immune systems, and I wouldn't do that to them. I have done enough, and I think a lot of people have as well. And last night was the final straw with my kid. Watching him struggle over the last year has been heartbreaking, as most parents. And I'm not saying you need to be the end-all to be-all when it comes to stuff. But I tell you what, some people better start giving some real answers about where we're going with some, hey, guys, the train is moving, not the station. Now, you can stay on the station, but eventually the train's taking off, i.e., you can get a vaccine or not, but understand we're going. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. A lot of stuff still to get to. More Tiger Woods. The guy is, he is so much bigger than I think a lot of people realize. And he's also, he was mysterious. He was crafted, and then he fell.
Well, trying to make sure that Charlie has the right environment. He's sheltered and he's away from all of this, what I have to do, make sure I do all of it so that he can, practice and play and enjoy the golf side of it.
Yeah, earlier this year he played in a tournament with his son. And by the way, if you've not seen his son, he's as good as advertised. He is as good as advertised. He really is. And you could try to shelter him, but he's also got that look like, I want to do this. And he's got game. The kid's got game for days. And what is he, 12? 11? God knows. But he's got that name. But, it's one thing, for all the missteps that he's had, and we're going to talk about some of those missteps along the way, because you can't, like anything else, you can't talk about all of it without all the other stuff, but also what he's meant to the game. And when you hear the numbers of what Tiger's done in so many ways, and I'm not even just talking about, I'm talking about the numbers of other people in the game, I think people are like, whoa, that's crazy. This is nuts. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's Twitter. Tweet, text, love hearing from every single one of you. Home Title Lock. Don't lose your house to somebody that you didn't sell your house to, but stole it right out from under you, because they went online and they said to themselves, who are we going to steal from today? Oh, these people. Everything that's out there when it comes to your title is public record. All a cyber criminal has to do is do what? Go online, check out the county recorder's office, sometimes pay a few bucks, sometimes they don't have to, legally obtain a copy of your deed, fake your signature, fake notary, they take over your house, they take out loans, you are screwed. Home Title Lock is there to defend you. They'll let you know when anything happens. Right now, when that happens, you don't ever find out until you're way, way in trouble. With Home Title Lock, they'll alert you. Hey, somebody's doing something. Somebody's looking at your title. Somebody's made an effort to get your title. Oh, what? Sometimes it's as little as, hey, you know what? We needed to add a sentence in here, or we needed to, the people have the loans and stuff, or we needed to, add a period or whatever it is, something small. And that's fine. But if it's the other, and it's happening more and more because cyber criminals are looking everywhere, and this is easier than stealing a car, that's why you need Home Title Lock. So right now, check it out for yourself. Protect your home with Home Title Lock. Go to HometitleLock.com, register your address, see if you've already been a victim. Use code radio for 30 days free protection. That's HometitleLock.com, code radio. HometitleLock.com, code radio. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
We're going to continue to say this over and over again. First of all, there's a lot of things men shouldn't do. Can we just all agree on this? My mom used to say this. Men don't need to be inside the room when the baby's being born. We don't need to see that. Just don't need to see that thing. All right, like just... baby showers, like everything's become like, we're doing it. Oh, good. Oh, that sounds fun. And gender reveals. Gender reveals, it's just, there's no need. So we don't need, like, there used to be, the gender reveals back in the day used to be, here it comes. That's a boy. Everybody was excited because nobody knew. Now, everybody knows before, which is fine. But you don't need to do stuff. And stuff is killing people. Stuff is killing lots of people, apparently, because, well, Darwin.
A father-to-be died after a device he was planning to use at a gender reveal party exploded. Police say 28-year-old Christopher Peckney was building something for his own child's gender reveal party, and that device exploded, killing Peckney and injuring his brother. New York State Bomb Disposal Unit is now investigating.
Yes, because it was a bomb. It was a pipe bomb. They weren't building like, hey, guess what? We got this little cool thing here. It's going to be, this will be awesome. It's going to have like a little pink or blue come out of it. It's going to be like a little like firework thing. No, they were building a bomb. It almost blew his brother's legs off and it killed him, they said, instantly. Stop it. And I blame social media. 25 years ago, Maybe you give your family a card. Hey, we're having a boy. Woo, we're having a girl. Whatever. Maybe. But since social media, everybody's got to outdo each other on something. Your kid got into Harvard. Well, my kid got into Super Harvard. Right? It's like, where's that? And we build a backyard spaceship to shoot him into space because there's Harvard somewhere else. It's like that. We all have to outdo each other, apparently. So, you guys had fireworks? Well, we're going to have double fireworks. Oh, you guys had you caught a rhino and painted it pink? Well, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do one with a lion riding the rhino. Hey, honey. What? Let's do a gender reveal party. Okay. What are we going to do? I'm going to wrestle a bear. Okay. Yeah. And then I'm going to shoot myself first out of a cannon into the bear. Then the bear's going to try to rip off my clothes, and underneath it will reveal your organs. Enough. You're going to have to be disclaimers on the gender reveal. 323-538-2423. That poor kid. Oh, how'd your dad die? He blew himself up for my gender reveal. Oh, there's that. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
So when I arrived on scene, the vehicle was rolled over onto the driver's side door, so there was no way to open the door, and he was still seatbelted in. When I got there, I made the decision, because I was able to get my upper body through the windshield, and I determined that he was alert enough and not a medical condition that necessitated me extracting him myself. And I decided to wait for the fire department. They have the tools and the training, and they're the real experts. So I decided to wait for them.
Yeah, that's right. Tiger Woods crashed yesterday. Pacific Palisades, Rolling Hills, just beautiful area. And an area that is notorious for having people who drive through there at 1,000 miles an hour. It's been like that for a long time. It's a great area. But it's an area where people are like, yeah, you know what? They push themselves because it's really neat. It's kind of winding roads, almost like you're going up a mountain, but you're kind of coming down. It's not really like you're going up like 6,000, 7,000. I mean, you're on the coast almost, and it's just a neat area. And there's Tiger. And lo and behold, about 1 o'clock, start getting stuffed. Tiger Woods in a one-car crash. You're thinking, well, did he get into a fender bender? Then you realize, no, and then all of a sudden it's starting to come out everywhere. Breaking news, Tiger Woods, and you're like, oh my God, let's get a flashback from a year before. Coronavirus just getting in. You got Kobe Bryant, and you're like, oh my God, not another one. And it always feels like it's one of those days where you're like, nothing's happening. It's a quiet day. You know, and now that Trump's gone, for the news media, there's nothing. Like, they're still trying to go back to the well, like calling Twitter, hey, can you get him back his tweets? Just let him tweet a little bit more. We got nothing going on over here. But then he crashed. And again, this area is notorious for people going fast.
This area, this street right here, does have a lot of speeders.
Oh, yeah, it does. They got cops everywhere. Always. And it's, you know, it's one of those things where, and I've been in and around there. I've grown up there my whole life in and around that area. And it's, played a lot of soccer there. A ton of soccer there. So my best friends grew up right there in Rolling Hills and the Torrance area and all stuff. And it's beautiful. The opportunity, for, especially as you're younger, we've all done it. Right? Well, I've never done it. Okay, whatever. Maybe not you. Regular people have. And now you got Tiger. Tiger. Guy who shaped, look, Tiger is not, you look at sports and you're like, there are people that elevate above the sport. They become something bigger than said sport. And you have that, right? You have that in certain things. You do. Basketball, Michael is still Michael. Now you can sit here and argue, so who's a better player? Is it Michael Jordan or is it LeBron? Well, I mean, player wise, I look at both of them equally. But when you want to talk about icon, I'm close. Michael's a bigger icon. Michael's an icon. Yeah. Baseball, they had their icons, but they're here. Their icons are here. Michael transcended the world. The Dream Team was massive. It was bigger. It was huge. Soccer. Right now you've got Messi and Ronaldo. Before that you had Pele and Maradona. Maradona passed away late last year. Bigger than the game. Icons outside of it. You say that name, right? There's names. Michael, you know who you're talking about. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Messi. Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Ronaldo. Gretzky. Oh, yeah, we know who you're talking about. Tiger. And over the last several years, Tiger's had his issues. We know that. There's no doubt in my mind. Everybody knows that. We're not pretending he hasn't. It's well documented. But his whole life has been documented. His entire life has been documented. So I grew up in Long Beach and Cypress. Little towns right next to each other, little towns, big cities, but you know what I mean. It's small areas, but he grew up in Cypress. So see him all the time. I played in a tournament with him once when I was a kid. I was older. He whooped our asses, by the way. I think I came in like third. I got a hot dog. I was thrilled. He beat us. I think I was 12 and he was 7 or 8. And he just smoked everybody. But we just knew him he was on the Mike Douglas show at 2. But we used to call him That's Incredible Kid. So we would go play soccer because I was trained. I played, look, there was a time when I was like, I may go golf, I may go soccer. I may go golf, I may go soccer. I was probably arguably better at golf at a time than I was at soccer, but I had a passion for soccer that I didn't have for golf. I have a passion for golf now, but I had a passion for soccer. But we'd go train at night at this little place and we go, run around. And then later on, the guys used to let us run around and we'd play soccer golf. Long before soccer golf got what it is now, because we knew everybody at the Hartwell Park and they had a driving range there. We'd always see Tiger wave. Hey, That's Incredible Kid. He'd wave and stuff. It'd be like 9:30 at night. He's like 10, 11 years old, 12 years old. His dad and him are out there hitting, and he's got like 20 buckets, like 100 balls. It's just buckets everywhere. Just swinging. Last one on the range. Look at it. It's amazing. But then with all of that comes a crafted life that, well, let's be real. It was crafted. It was manufactured. And then it all fell apart. And we'll touch on a little bit of that later. But now he faces arguably his biggest test. He's 45. He isn't Tiger like he used to be. He's just had his 5th back surgery, but 6 weeks ago. Now he faces his absolute biggest test of all. He wasn't even sure if he was going to play in the Masters this year. He told Jim Nantz over the weekend, I don't know. But then you've got the compound fractures and a guy who's already had several knee surgeries, Achilles that has been torn, several back surgeries, including full spinal fusion and microdiscectomies, and now the legs.
This is what falls under the umbrella of a major trauma. So in general, a patient in an accident like this would be going immediately to the operating room with multiple teams of surgeons, orthopedic surgeons, likely vascular surgeons, trauma surgeons, to have this hardware put in the leg.
And it is hardware. It is, they put it in this is serious hardware. Screws, nuts, bolts. I mean, it's real.
A rod goes into one of the long bones. In this case, it sounds like the tibia, and then screws and pins in the smaller bones to stabilize things. We also heard an additional operation to relieve pressure. That's something called compartment syndrome, where there can be very dangerous and significant swelling in between the muscle and fascial planes in a limb.
Yeah. It's huge. Faces a huge battle, and he faces a big decision on top of the battle, and there's lots of it. We're going to talk about some of the stuff that he faces, and we're going to talk about somebody out there who's in a sport that he didn't play, but who may be an inspiration for him if he decides he wants to try to get back out there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. Johnson & Johnson has been emergency approved by the FDA, and this is the single dose shot that can be stored essentially anywhere, which would means it's at your doctor's, it's at your local pharmacy. You don't have to go get, online to some special website that the state or cities put together, the county, and go to, a football stadium to get a shot.
The single-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine was found to be 85% effective in clinical trials for preventing severe illness and claims to be 100% effective at preventing deaths, even against the highly contagious South African variant.
Which is great. Doesn't mean it's going to, they're about 70%, 66 to, it's like, it goes down to 56 depending on the variant, up to like 78% or something on other kinds of variants. But on average, about 66 to 70%. Preventing you from getting the coronavirus. But as far as the death side of it, they say it's 100%, meaning even if you get sick, the chances of you dying from it right now, according to theirs, is 0. And you probably won't even get sick at all. You'll be asymptomatic or have very mild issues. And that's big. This is another arrow in the quiver, if you will, for us to use. Doesn't mean that we're going to go back to normal, because if a lot of other people had it their way, they would have you wear 12 masks now. Now that you've been vaccinated, we'd like you to wear 400 masks. Wrap yourself up in plastic and stand in the corner facing the wall. And even at that point, I don't know if you're going to be safe. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us. New study. I love this study. On average, 9 days. 9 days on average is what we drive around with the check engine light on. I think that is hilarious. I was looking at the study and I'm like, yeah, that's like a lot of people. Have you ever driven in your car and the check engine light comes on and you're like, I'm going to put something right there so I don't see it. We'll just pretend it doesn't exist, so it doesn't exist.
Your check engine light is on.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, that's an indicator to, check your engine.
It's fine. It's been on for like a month.
Well, actually, that would be all the more reason to, check your engine.
Sheldon, it's fine.
If it were fine, the light wouldn't be on. That's why the manufacturer installed that light, to let you know it's not fine.
I don't know. Maybe the light's broken.
Is there the check engine light?
Yeah. I laugh because I think every one of us has done. We were talking about this yesterday. It's of course, right? Like, you ever heard you ever had something that was kind of like, you're like, what's that clicking noise? And then you turn the stereo up, it's gone. Oh, there it goes. I don't know. I don't hear it. Do you? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. And speaking of that, your car, you need to take care of it. And if that check engine light comes on, you don't want to be like driving around for days, right? And a lot of people do that because they're worried. Oh my God, it's going to cost me hundreds of thousands. Sometimes it's nothing, right? But a lot of times it could be something, and making sure that something doesn't become something big is why you need CarShield. CarShield gives you 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. And that shop is the shop that you choose. So when you do that, you take it to your favorite place, your mechanic, whatever, that you trust. They get them paid directly, nothing out of your pocket. You just pay a small deductible. It's America's #1 auto protection company, CarShield is. And if your car, if it's newer and you're worried about the electronics, you know what? They got a plan that's right for you. If it's a little bit older, you're worried about the engine and the transmission, they got a plan that's right for you. Plans start as low as $99 a month. Protect your car, protect your engine, protect your wallet with CarShield. Call them today, 800-665-2157. 800-665-2157. Tell them exactly what you're looking for. Be specific. Use code Benson, save 10%, or go to carshield.com. Carshield.com. Use code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's find out what's trending. Let's start over here in the world of Twitter. Obviously, Tiger, huge. Trending everywhere. Big time. Fry's Electronics. They have said they're closing all their stores in the United States. And Fry's is neat. If you've never been there, you better hurry. Because it's not going to be around very, very long. Johnson & Johnson, trending because the FDA has said that they're going to allow immediate emergency authorization to their single-dose coronavirus vaccine that they say works against all strains, including the South African strain, which is what a lot of people are worried about right now. Head on over to the magical world of Google. Tiger #1. That's easy to see. In fact, Tiger, just to give you guys a real-time search, or so you can go check out all the data, and I always find this stuff interesting. So yesterday at like 12:40, there were cumulatively 72 news articles out about there, and 0 search interest, other than just the regular people, and 4 new news articles that were out there. It was about 12:30, 12:45. By 1 p.m., search interest 100, news articles 5,602, and the cumulative amount of searches, news articles, and everything was almost 7,600. Gives you an idea of a lot of things when it comes to just the power of who he is and how big that was. Heidi Cruz and Ted Cruz still trending. I don't know why. It's so funny. Ted Cruz took a stupid vacation that was bad optics, and there was nothing he could do, whether he stayed there or not. Yeah, he should have. The optics were bad. He doesn't have a magical lightning-gathering stick where he climbs on top of a mountain somewhere in Texas and summons lightning so he can melt the snow. He's not going up and fixing anything. Well, Chad, the optics? Yeah, of course, the optics were bad. Andrew Cuomo, nothing about him. My God, yesterday I was watching, we had all the TVs on it. MSNBC, Joy Reid, we can't hear it because there's 4 TVs in the room. She's got the worst person of the day. I'm like, really? That's the worst person of the day was Ted Cruz? If we're going to stay in politics, not the guy in New York who threatens other assembly people and local politicians and, yeah, dare I say, journalists? Not him? The guy who hid the data about the old people? Who wrote a book and won an Emmy about how to kill old people? Not him? My God. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Good afternoon, Senators. I appreciate the few minutes I've been given to speak to you about this most important issue. I'm the dad of two children, a son in 10th grade at Salem High School, and a daughter in 9th at Canton High School. We urgently need leadership where we, as a society, will be left with the wreckage of a lost and undereducated generation, unless you're rich or well-connected, that is. We're now on day 347 of 2 weeks to stop the spread. Day 347 of our schools being closed by the governor. Day 347 of politicians saying that teachers and their union are more important than our children.
That's a dad there who I think speaks for a lot of people. And by the way, you always have to preface this. There's a lot of teachers out there who are in the union, but aren't a fan of a lot of what the union does. There's a lot of teachers that are. And the union is doing union things. And that should be expected. And it's, nationwide. Some unions are more powerful, especially in Democratic-run states, absolutely have massive power. I'm seeing it with my son right now. Got his little letter yesterday. They emailed everybody, basically telling them, hey, kids, guess what? We're going to do a hybrid model maybe in April. He lost it. He melted down. He melted down yesterday. I'm a different character, right? Like, I'd have been like, well, whatever. As a kid, I'd have been like, oh, this is great. I could do school in like an hour and a half and run around the rest of the day. But I was fine. He is far more of a people person. He loves that. And that's a huge part of what he is. And it has really hurt him. His weight has fluctuated. It's that weird growth spurt kind of scenario where, he's like 10 and he's like, he's almost as tall as me. And, over the last year, he's grown like 6 inches. Like, oh my. And he's seen his friends twice, his two best friends. They had a sleepover this weekend. Like, that was everything. But then when, the realization that he's not going to see them again in person for who knows how long. I lost it, too. I'm over it. I think everybody is. They're sick and tired of it. Oh, but Chad, everybody's sick and tired of it. The problem is we've allowed people to dictate in such a way of what's happening. And everybody said, well, science. No, science, first of all, there is no such thing as settled science. There just isn't. You're not going to find settled. Science is there to battle, to undo, to go out and say, yes, this is absolutely, we have proven it out over and over again. But it's never as settled as you think. And you have competing things going on. And a lot of those things have very little to do with the actual science and far more to do with politics, especially when it comes to kids in school.
My son hasn't physically been in school this entire time. My daughter has been there for parts of 6 days. In the past year, learning and common sense has taken a backseat to politics. The politics of fear, the politics of divisiveness, and the politics of coronavirus.
And for those out there who think that the anti-maskers are the only one who are political, you're fooling yourself. You're absolutely fooling yourself. It is a bunch of crap. People on the over-masking, over-protection, freaking outside are as guilty as anybody else. And the politics of fear. The hardest thing for politicians and for government groups and people to do now is to give people back control. Is to give people back a sense of, we're going to trust you and give you responsibility. No, that's what you should have done all along. That's what you should have done. That's what you should have done. And instead, rules have been changed. Things have happened. People have found their science bias that they're looking for to back up their data of which they want to be successful. And it's not about whether or not we don't wear masks or don't have respect or don't treat it seriously. But the warning all along from the guy that came on before Biden, that guy, the awful evil guy, was we can't let the cure be worse than the disease. And everybody's like, that'll never happen. It's happening. It is. It's absolutely. And anybody who dares spoke out about this and say, you know what, maybe we're going a little too far. Maybe we should allow people to make their own decisions. Maybe kids should be in school. Maybe we shouldn't destroy everything in certain industries. Well, if you said that, you're evil. You want to kill grandma. Oh, yeah. No, this has become politics 101. And the greatest opportunity to grab power and to do things right here. And a lot of times, people, they're trying. It's all about what? Good intentions. But throughout the people with the good intentions, people are hijacking it for other things.
Leadership from the state government has been both heavy-handed and non-existent at the same time. That would seem to be an oxymoron, but unfortunately government is the only entity that is able to make that possible. Nuance and common sense have disappeared from all levels of government lately. Policies that may have made sense to institute last March now don't. Yet here we are doing those same very things.
Yeah. Now it's double mask. Now it's, yeah, even though you got the shots, you really shouldn't do anything. Shouldn't visit grandma. Shouldn't be. So this is the mixed messaging and the frustration. And what you find now is not just the extremes of people who push back, but now the everyday average person has had enough. And now the message that you're pushing out there is either pissing them off or even worse, it's falling on deaf ears. Biden, state leaders across the country, got to start making choices. And you got to start taking the lead and start saying to the people, look, we're going to get back to normal. Here's the date we're going to roll with this thing. Outside of another variant coming here, once you get yourself a shot, once you get yourself into a position where you're ready to roll, you can live your life. And this is the date that's going to happen. And by the way, if you choose not to get one, that's fine. The beauty of our freedom is here in the country. For whatever reason, whether it's your allergies, you too can live your life. And you accept the responsibilities, as we all do on a day-to-day basis. Accept those responsibilities. Because if you continue to leave an open-ended question, which is, when are we going to get back to normal? You're going to get a non-answer. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. I have a feeling, and this is just me, over the coming days, weeks, and months, as Tiger Woods starts, and we start to learn about all the things that are going on with his surgery, how bad all of these things were, people are going to look at him and say, okay, what's next for him? Is he going to make this comeback? Is this going to happen? Is he going to try to come back? Because as we heard earlier from Dr. Jen Ashton, this is a serious thing. And it's scary. I mean, and it wasn't just one leg, it was both.
It was my understanding that he had serious injuries to both legs.
Both legs. And he's got stuff in there now.
A rod goes into one of the long bones. In this case, it sounds like the tibia, and then screws and pins in the smaller bones to stabilize things. We also heard an additional operation to relieve pressure. That's something called compartment syndrome, where there can be very dangerous and significant swelling in between the muscle and fascial planes in a limb.
So now the question is he going to look at this as the greatest challenge in the history of challenges for him? Is he going to look at this and say, I am going to make a comeback? Not only am I going to make a comeback, I'm going to do everything I can to win. But just coming back potentially from this, from all of my back surgeries, from all of my spine fusion surgeries, and now from this, am I going to make that kind of comeback? Which may be his biggest comeback of all time. And while they'll talk about that, I can guarantee you the first person he is going to call is a guy named Alex Smith. And if you don't know who Alex Smith is, this past season, he played football in the NFL. He played football in the NFL after being severely injured. Not just talking about severely injured. We're talking about a brutal injury that was a compound fracture in a game against Houston in 2018 to the point where they thought he may die. And if he doesn't die, the best thing may be we're going to have to take his leg. 17 surgeries. Necrotizing fasciitis, sepsis, 8 debridements across all 4 separate hospital surgeries. So he's going in and they're doing all kinds of things. They thought, hey, you know what the best thing to do? Let's just take your leg before your knee. They tried everything. Last year, he played in the NFL. Last year, he made a comeback. Tiger's going to look to him, I'm sure, if he's going to do this. And if you know anything about Tiger, I bet you the first thing he thought of the minute he got out of this is, all right, how long until my legs are good enough that I can start standing up and working out?
You know, for me laying in the hospital for that month, laid up and in the wheelchair, I mean, to dream about walking again, to dream about, you know, forget football, will I ever be able to go on a hike or swing a golf club, you know, and then to slowly, you know, physical therapy and get strength back and work your way towards that. And then, okay. And then I start thinking about, well, can I do this? What's the next thing? You know, and will I be able to jump again? Can I jog? All those things. And I think just kind of continue to push it. Like I said, I do go back to the challenge in life. And I got this great big challenge in front of me. And I don't see how I could turn my back on it.
That was Alex Smith. His family didn't want him to play. His family didn't want him to play because they were worried. And he got that first hit out of the way, and he played okay. But that determination, and for some players and for some people, it's there. The drive is so absolutely burning. Tiger's probably not going to catch Jack Nicklaus when it comes to majors. And I think he's tied for first right now with Snead for the most wins. But Tiger revolutionized the game. And Tiger's got his biggest challenge. And he's going to look to somebody like Alex Smith, Alex, if you've never seen the injury, don't look at it. It is violent. It is nasty. And it is just, but to know that guy, I mean, they thought he was going to die. Then they thought about taking his leg. Imagine that. You're an NFL quarterback, and 24 hours later, they're trying to save your life. And then a couple weeks later, they're like, we think we should cut your leg off. And now he's playing. And if I know Tiger, and I think most of us, you could see the desire he has, the want and the will to win. It wouldn't be about getting back out there swinging a club. If he's going to do it, he's going to want to win. And that's going to be tough because the time of his domination is long since gone, and wins don't come. And his body was breaking down anyways. So this will be very interesting. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. It's going to be very interesting indeed with Tiger. Again, an icon. You look at somebody, you say, that guy's everywhere. You can be in China, you can be in Africa, you can be in Australia, you can be in Southeast Asia. You could be on the Antarctic. You could find 10 scientists out there studying the frozen wee willy winking worm and how it lives underneath and stuff. And they'll go, oh, yeah, I know who Tiger Woods is. South America, Central America. People know. Is this his greatest comeback? And that will define him maybe more than anything else? Or is it all caught up to him? It's very interesting. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Oh, this is great. Only in Illinois. Rather than deal with the problem, we got another way to get rid of something. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
There's still so much nonsense, so much misinformation, disinformation in the world. But there is less from the president. We know that Biden speaks less, he tweets less, and he lies less when he talks and tweets. Trump was a unique case. But that doesn't mean Biden is perfect. He sometimes exaggerates, he sometimes embellishes.
And he sometimes just out and out lies. Right? And it's funny because they talked about the fact that, look, the fact checkers have disappeared pretty much everywhere now. And it matters because of silly things like this. This is Jen Psaki, right? You guys know who Jen Psaki is? Talking about, what's going on at the border. Because, stuff's happening at the border, right? You guys get that. Talking about all kinds of things, including, the migrant children who are in facilities that last year and the year before that were cages.
Why is the Biden administration reopening a temporary facility for migrant children in Texas?
The policy of this administration is not to expel unaccompanied children who arrive at the border, but because of COVID-19 protocols, the social distancing requirements, there needs to be spacing, and we abide by those spacing to protect the kids. HHS took steps to open an emergency facility to add capacity.
Okay. Yeah, but that's the same place that everybody freaked out about, right? Are people going to go over there and cry again? Are we going to make anything about it?
But it's the same facility that was open for a month in the Trump administration, summer 2019. That is when Joe Biden said, under Trump, there have been horrifying scenes at the border of kids being kept in cages. And Kamala Harris said, basically, babies in cages is a human rights abuse being committed by the United States government. So how is this any different?
These are facilities. Let me be clear here. One, there's a pandemic going on. I'm sure you're not suggesting that we have children right next to each other in ways that are not COVID safe, are you?
That wasn't the question. We get there's a pan. Everybody's aware of this, but you're opening up a facility that was closed down. And evil and bad and all of these things. Remember how it opened up originally. It was under Obama. And how dare you ask questions? They tried to slide a couple other things through. And it's amazing. But that's what you expect. And the fact checkers disappear. And this all of a sudden becomes a summer camp as opposed to what it was before. Drives people crazy. But it's politics. Politics is weird, politics is stupid, and politics is game. And rarely does it ever deal with an issue. Right now in Illinois, a lawmaker's going to go out there. Rep. Marcus Evans, what's he want to do? He wants to introduce a bill banning certain video games like Grand Theft Auto because, well, carjackings are up. And this could possibly help. What? Well, why don't we just deal with why is there a situation where kids feel like they have to do this? And how do we get to the root cause of it? Now, let's get rid of video games. Well, if these kids are playing video games, then obviously their life doesn't suck that much. My God. Stupid. Stupid, stupid. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
So, Tiger, 7 weeks from today, final round of the Masters. You going to be there?
Gotta hope so. I got to get there first.
You feel like
a lot of it's based on my surgeons and my doctors and my therapists, and making sure that I do it correctly. And this is the only back I got, so I don't have much more wiggle room left there.
But the plan would be maybe to get one tournament in before that, I guess?
I don't know what the plan is. The plan is right now is just to go ahead and get the MRI and see if the annulus is sealed, if it's scarred over, and then we can start progressing.
Well, we miss you, Tiger. I can tell you that on behalf of everyone that's passionate about this game.
That was Jim Nantz and Tiger this weekend, obviously before the wreck. He was talking about his back. He just had a micro discectomy where they went in again to help fix his disc in his back. He's been fused together so many times. I mean, it's just this guy when it comes to what he's done to his body. And people are like, well, it's golf. Over a lifetime, 10, 15 million swings when it comes to, I mean, that may be an absolute understatement. When you think about it, I mean, this is a kid who probably some days hit 1,000 shots growing up. Well, if you do that just 300 days a year, you're at 300,000. He's 45. You're at 13.5 million. And trust me, there's a lot more than that. There's a lot more than that. Can't tell me. And the kind of torque he put on his body. Yeah. But he's got an accident. And now he's got a challenge. The accident doesn't seem like there was any drugs involved, which is good news because people were asking the questions. And this guy here, Andy Scholes, he was on CNN. People came after this guy. Oh, how dare he do this and stuff? And that's insensitive. No, he's absolutely right to ask the question because the first thing when I heard this first happen, and I thought it was a minor accident, just like, well, like, oh God, the Tiger, was he taking pills? Because if you watched that interview with Jim Nantz and him, and you go look it up, Tiger looks exhausted, kind of out of it. He's always kind of subdued anyways, but he looked, but it's fair to ask a question. Zero problems asking the question.
What are your thoughts right now?
I mean, Brianna, stunned, I guess, but not entirely surprised by, what we're seeing here. Tiger back in 2017 was found by police, pulled over the side of the road, asleep in his car. He had said he had taken a lot of painkillers at that time because we all know Tiger's undergone a lot of surgeries over the years and painkillers have become a part of his life.
And by the way, he's apologized for that. Don't apologize for that. Don't apologize for that. You had nothing to apologize for. I'm not entirely surprised. Well, look, people get into wrecks. Things happen. But it's a fair thing to ask. I mean, 2017 doesn't mean he's an addict. This is a guy who probably lives in nothing but pain. Some of these guys, you see, like Jason Day, one of the great golfers of the world. Watching him play the PGA Championship after we came back after the COVID thing, which was the first major. Every hole he would take a swing, and while the guys were getting ready to tee up their ball or do whatever, he would go over because his chiropractor or the person was with him, and they would stretch him and loosen him, and they're twisting him and doing all this stuff. With Tiger, I mean, you're talking about the kind of surgery he had, the kind that NFL players had to fuse their backs together. And now, with his legs, this is, you don't even know. You have no idea.
This is what falls under the umbrella of a major trauma. So in general, a patient in an accident like this would be going immediately to the operating room with multiple teams of surgeons, orthopedic surgeons, likely vascular surgeons, trauma surgeons, to have this hardware put in the leg.
And it is a lot of hardware. And they had to do a lot of stuff. And now he's got an uphill battle. The uphill battle is going to begin and probably already is beginning. He is collecting every piece of data that he can right now from everybody around him. Because in his mind, he's thinking to himself, if I come back, I'm coming back. And he may woke up today and say, all right, let's do this. His back may strengthen over the next 9 months. 12 months. And he's probably saying, all right, my goal is to get to the Masters next year. I'm not making it this year, obviously. How did it happen? Well, that's a question that will be answered in the coming weeks. But it's a road that is notorious for fast driving. It is very windy. He's driving that new Genesis Q SUV. I don't even know if you can get those yet. Thing is awesome. Oh, because that was what he was doing this weekend, was hosting. He was the host of the Genesis tournament this weekend. And that was, it was like one of those situations where you're looking out there and you're thinking to yourself, like those things are pretty nice. Those Genesis are nice. Probably gave him, hey, Tiger, try one. You can't even get him yet. Have fun. And he even had the Genesis logo on the side. Maybe he was zipping around, as he probably was, enjoying some speed. They're shooting a show called Grownish at the resort he's staying at. And the director and producer said they almost got hit by Tiger on the way out. He was speeding they said, to get somewhere. Did that happen for real, or was it just that moment? But he was supposedly going to go shoot a teaching lesson with Drew Brees and Justin Herbert, quarterbacks in the NFL. Obviously, Drew Brees for New Orleans and Justin Herbert, the young star for the Los Angeles Chargers. And they were going to go do a feature when he crashed. So it could have been a lot of different things. So we'll see what takes place when it comes to what he wants to do. But the mark he has left, as we start to break down some of the things that he has done, not just for him and his legacy, but the things he's done for golf and for all of these other players who should just be on their knees today praying and thanking for Tiger, because he changed the game. Very few people could say they have changed a sport. They had to do things to try to prevent him from doing things on the course. That's crazy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Johnson & Johnson gets FDA emergency approval. So this is the one shot. One shot. New study came out today, too, by the way, which is we've been clamoring here on our little dog and pony show with zero scientific evidence other than common sense, which is the part of science that, even most scientists say we need a lot more of that. But that skip the double dose at this point in time. Just get as many people the vaccine as possible. The one thing about Johnson & Johnson, it was always meant to be a one vaccine. And it was always meant to be kept at room temperature. And people say, hey, this is the game breaker because it can do mass quantities of people for this. And it's easy to get because you don't have to go to a special website for your city, state, or county. You can go to your doctor because they'll be able to keep it and store it there. You can go to your Walgreens or your little, health department at Walmart or your local grocery store, and you can get it there. You're not going to have to show up at 2:30 in the morning at a sports stadium to get this thing done.
Federal regulators said Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine meets the requirements for emergency use authorization, which could be granted as soon as Friday night. It's one dose meant for adults over 18. The vaccine was 66% effective at preventing COVID-19, but more effective, 85% at preventing severe illness. Johnson & Johnson said its vaccine works against all variants, and once authorized, the company said it could have 20 million doses by March, 100 million by June.
Which is huge. Which is massive. That's what we're looking for, right? That's the thing. That's the mass quantity that we're looking for. Between that, and then you've got the other side of it, which was, Moderna, and then Pfizer and BioNTech with theirs. Those are two shots, but both of those are effective in the 80s when it comes to just one shot. So that's what we need. Because people are chomping at the bit to get their lives back, to get back out there. They're frustrated. They're sick and tired. They don't want hemming and hawing anymore from politicians. They want to not relive 2020. They want to live again.
Mounting evidence suggests our economy is chomping at the bit to rebuild the prosperity we lost last year. With a truly terrible 12 months behind us, but in a better position to move forward than many experts had predicted. Now, are we destined to spend a second year in a national defensive crouch? Are we going to surrender another school year to the pandemic, another year of elevated unemployment, another year of diminished social and community life?
Mitch McConnell, he's absolutely right. We can't. We've been living, we're playing prevent defense. If you ever watch sports, a lot of sports today, first of all, I mean, and producer Phil, you know this, never prevents anything from happening.
Not at all.
So prevent defense is like, all right, we're up by 3, so just don't let them score a touchdown. I'm like, well, hold on a second, they kick a field goal, so maybe we should try to prevent them doing all that. No. We play great defense all day. Now what I want you guys to do is they've got the ball in their 25-yard line. I want everybody to go back to our goal line and stand there. It's like, and it never prevents anything. We've been playing afraid, and I don't think we can do that anymore. It's one thing to be cautious. It's another thing to play in fear, and I think we've been doing that. And it's time to get out of that, and it's time for us to learn how to live with this thing, through this thing, and around this thing, and above this thing, rather than letting it dictate our lives in such a way. Because what it's done is it allowed it to be a tool for a lot of politicians to grab the political side of it and dictate way too much. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. We're talking about Tiger's legacy. Again, he's alive, and there's going to be a lot of questions going forward about will he ever play again. But what he not only means to the game, what kind of icon he is, but what he did for the game and for everybody who plays golf, but everybody who's a professional. It is when you hear some of these stats, you're like, oh my goodness. Wow, that's crazy. Rough Greens, best stuff I've ever done for my dog Doodle. So my dog Doodle, you guys hear me talk about him. He's a little Chiweiner dog or what. I don't even know what he is. He's a mess is what he was. And we got him. I'm like, oh, he's going to be great. And we thought, oh, this will be fun. And he's 3, he's 4, whatever. And he's like 10 and he's a hot mess. And he's got arthritis. He's got bad hips and he's got, fatty tumors. And we're like, we may have to put him down because he bites all the kids and he bites pretty much anybody if you pet him. And he's always growly, and we didn't know what to do. You couldn't even really touch him. So we started giving him Rough Greens, right? It's a supplement put on top of his food. It's changed everything. It's got probiotics. It's got vitamins, minerals. It's got, all kinds of enzymes and omega-3, 6, and 9. And what it's done is it's changed everything for him. His hips don't hurt. He's got so much energy. He's like a new puppy. And the mobility and joint health has changed everything. It is incredible. Do it. Supplements, you put it right on top of your dog's food. Don't change any of that stuff. Just sprinkle it on there. They'll love it. Rough Greens want you to try it first. You try it before you buy it. Okay? Just cover shipping, and away you go. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad, ruffgreens.com/Chad, or call 833-MY-DOG-77, 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Portland, for instance, Seattle. Do you regard assaults on federal courthouses or other federal property as acts of domestic extremism, domestic terrorism?
My own definition of the use of violence or threats of violence in an attempt to disrupt democratic processes. So an attack on a courthouse while in operation, trying to prevent judges from actually deciding cases, that plainly is an attack simply on government property at night. That's where I draw the line. Both are criminal, but one is a core attack on our democratic institutions.
Merrick Garland wandering around aimlessly, and I think that's being nice. Like some of the stuff that he's going to be the AG. That's going to happen, and but some of that stuff, like I'm sitting there going, wait, what is he? So nighttime on a federal courthouse, if you attack it, it's no big deal. I mean, it's just a crime, regular old crime. But daytime, if you attack it, it's domestic terrorism because people are trying to do stuff in there and you're preventing them. Well, if I burn something down, didn't I also prevent it from happening? I didn't know there was a time thing. Yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah, crime's based on time. Dark and light. So daytime, light time. Different kind of crime. Nighttime, Separate crime. Don't confuse the two. Oh, okay. He had some other humdinger answers. This is about the border. What?
Do you believe that illegal entry at America's border should remain a crime?
Well, I haven't thought about that question.
How? You're going to be the AG. How have you not thought about that? Everybody's thought about that. From the person who works at the gas station, to the person who serves you coffee at McDonald's, to the person who's on the radio, and the person who I guess would be AG. You should have probably thought about it.
I just haven't thought about that question. I think, the president has made clear that we are a country of with the borders and with a concern about national security. I don't know of a proposal to decriminalize but still make it unlawful to enter. I just don't know the answer to that question. I haven't thought about it.
How have you not thought about it? I think we're all curious about that. He's going to be the AG. Again, I don't think he's a bad guy, and I think he's trying to walk. And these things are show things, and especially because we kind of know the outcomes of a good portion of these, but you have better answer than that. Look, for as bad as times that Bill Barr was, if you go look at Bill Barr's and you look at his, you're like, Merrick's like, what's immigration? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text the program. What's the legacy that Tiger has laid out there for everybody to follow? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Yeah, I'm sick to my stomach. It hurts to see one of your, now my closest friends, get in an accident. And, man, I just hope he's all right. Just worry for his kids, I'm sure they're struggling.
The best golfers in the world right there, Justin Thomas. Talking about Tiger. Yesterday, everybody was talking about Tiger. All these golfers, every one of them, including one of his close friends, Bryson DeChambeau, who is, this is a guy who, it's really weird. Tiger's he's an icon. So there's this aura around him. He wears the red on Sundays. Everybody's known who he is since he was 2 years old on that first shot he hit on Mike Douglas. And there's this thing around him that is this kind of thing. And that people, even this weekend, Max Homa won the tournament this weekend. Professional golfer. Pretty damn good one. He said he saw Tiger the day before, and he's the guy that is the host of the tournament, the Genesis Open, one of the biggest tournaments in the world. And Max was afraid to say hi to him the day before, like he saw him and then he scurried away. The guy won the tournament. That's the kind of thing. But oddly enough, in a weird way, he befriended a guy named Bryson DeChambeau, and they got a lot of weirdness. Like Bryson, they call him the mad scientist of golf. Everything is about, he's a guy that it's all about. It's not about ability in some ways. It's about trying to beat something. Like Tiger was all raw power and ability and natural things, but also drive. This guy's drive in a different way. And they're polar opposites because Tiger has all this game. Like he was always searching for perfection. And this guy does too, but he's a scientist. Everything's like, when he goes to hit the shot, he's talking to his caddy. What's the axis of the Earth's tilt? What's the wind coming out of the southeast at 3.5 degrees? We're tilted at this. We've also got a situation where it's a little bit warmer and humid on the right side compared to the left. He's that weird way, but they've kind of become like friends. They play together a lot in practice rounds, and he was upset as well, and talks about Tiger.
Whatever's happened, he's always come back from it in a pretty amazing way. He's an amazing human being that has done incredible things. You look back to Ben Hogan and what happened with him in the bus crash, right? and what he was able to do after that. And so I have no doubt in my mind he'll be back, and it's take him a little longer, I'm sure, but from my perspective, he's one of the most impressive human beings I've ever met, and I think that he'll come back just fine.
Ben Hogan had an accident, one of the great golfers ever. And this is, Tiger's in a much better position. Ben Hogan's happened of like 48, 49. Eerily similar, by the way. Eerily similar. Ben had more issues with the with some of the other things. He had pelvis was broken, his collarbone and stuff, but a lot of it was kind of the same. And Hogan came back. Age was a little bit different. Competition was different. And why do I say that? Every one of those guys you heard makes millions. Every single one of them. Tiger changed a game that in a way that you couldn't believe, I think, if you look at it today. It's like we can't even, like, it's like they were like, we're going to have to Tiger-proof. That's what they were talking about when he first came out. Back when he first came out, guys didn't do what he did, which is he left college. Normally, you'd leave college, you struggle on the mini tours. Maybe you went to Q school, and if you got lucky, you'd get into the, to the pros, and you'd struggle a bit. And you go back and forth, and maybe when you got into your 30s or so, you would win, and you'd have hopefully a decent little career. No, Tiger changed everything. Not only did he came, he saw, he conquered. But along with that, as frustrated as some of these golfers were watching, here's a kid who's 20 years old, fresh out of college, hits the ball farther than you, has more game than you, is a better putter, that he's doing everything better than you are. Well, it's not supposed to happen. Plus, he's a person of color. Which brought with them advertisers, which brought with them things that opened up a game. This past weekend, you had a golfer that was there, part of an initiative to help get players of color the opportunity to play in tour events, and guys who are good, guys who are professional golfers, but maybe playing on smaller tours. They're all inspired by him. When Tiger first came out, started to play. This is what's crazy. The money leader that year was a 26-year-old guy named Phil Mickelson. He won $1.57 million for the year. Right? That's it. Like there you go. I mean, he won. That's what he won. Some of this stuff is nuts. When you start looking at, okay, wait, what? Yeah. In 1986, so 10 years before Tiger came out, to keep your card, you had to finish 130. That year, the guy that finished 130 made $58,000. $58,000. Last year, there were 99 players that made $8 million on the tour. 99 players. Well, Chad, it's you just not even close to adjusting for inflation. Dustin Johnson won it all last year. He's the number one player in the world. He won the tour championship. He got a $15 million bonus total for the year, $20,837,000. You can go all the way down to the last person that actually keeps their card. They made $800,000. And that doesn't even account for what they're making off. All because of Tiger. There are guys who are never going to win a tournament or will win one every few years at best that will make consistently $1-2 million a year. All because of Tiger. He changed the game. The legacy that he has left is huge, and now he has the opportunity to set a new one. And all of these guys, all of them that you just heard, John Rahms and Jason Days, and all these major stars, they're there because of Tiger, because Tiger was one thing that golf wasn't. He was an athlete. He looked like an athlete, right? He looked like an athlete. He had, here's a guy that's, the person of color, that's one of the big barriers and the way that but he looked like he was there. He's working out. He's training 10, 12 hours a day. He's going out. He's not just, that was something that It's totally different. He's getting yoked. He's getting ripped. He's playing in a way that nobody ever did. He has made more millionaires than probably any other athlete. And not by that, I mean any other athlete. This guy's made more millionaires just because of himself. That's huge. And we'll see now. We'll see if he is up for the task. And I think he will be, because he'll look at legacy and he'll think to himself, this is my legacy. This is the stand that I take where people look back and go, for all the other stuff and the chaos, the craziness, the cheatings, the affair, all of that stuff, this right here could change. And if you imagine if he comes back and wins. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. We posted something earlier, so there was another UFO sighting. So Anthony posted something on our Facebook. You can check it out, Chad Benson Show. And it's a silly picture of an American Airlines, because what they're saying is Flight 2292 on February 21st saw something. Cylindrical-shaped object. It was moving at high speed, going directly over their plane. They said it looked like a missile-like object that the U.S. fighter pilots have been saying for the last, I don't know how many years, hey, we've been seeing that thing everywhere. And the way that it handled itself, the way that it did stuff, it was crazy. And where it was in the corner of New Mexico. So Anthony posts this picture with like a Photoshop thing. It just it's a stupid like UFO. It looks like from the 1950s horrible movies. It's hilarious. And to show you that people just don't get it. To show people that they just don't understand. There are people on my Facebook page who, look, there's a lot of people that you know, they hear, you know, because of Trump, they've been drawn to stuff. Because of politics, they live in a very narrow world, and they don't talk about, you know, a lot of different every things, and they stay in that narrow path. But you wonder how people could get sucked into stuff. It's simple. There are people on my thing going, how did somebody get out on the wing to take a picture? And they're serious. Like cousin, are you serious, Clark? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Are you serious? Yeah. And then they start, who took this picture? How did that happen? It's sad. It's sad. Oh, this person must have been a wing walker. It's crazy that people buy into that. Now, a lot of them are just laughing, but there's a good majority of them who are like, wow, look at that. It's Photoshop. It's not even a good Photoshop. That's the whole point. It was to be funny. They need help. You wonder how people get sucked into stuff? There you go. There you go. Like, I understand how a 20-year-old kid who's fresh out of high school, who's, you know, trying to find themselves, and they're looking up at their 45-year-old professor, their 60-year-old professor, and they, oh, this guy's got all the kind of wisdom and blah, and they get sucked into something because, you know, these people get sucked into stuff that's just, how? They need some music.
There's a lot of different sources to get news, so here's how to spot the crap from what you can use. Check the currency, when was it written? Are the search results old? Has there been a revision? Is it relevant? Does it directly answer your question? Does it go into depth or barely even a mention? Do any other sites support the fact in focus? If no one backs it up, then it might be bogus. Check authority, is it from a qualified author? Is it a .com, .org, or a .gov?
I love that. There's more. But that's right there. It's what I tell people. Are you really doing research? No, you're not. You're seeing something. It's a meme. It's a funny thing. The stuff I get sent to me on a daily basis. And then you throw that in with confirmation bias of something that you want to believe. You're going to run with it. But this isn't even close to that. Like, Anthony wasn't even trying. He could have put a picture of E.T. up with the bike, right? The Was it the Henry Thomas bike? Like riding the bike, and they'd have bought it. More of the song, sir.
Check the accuracy, is it right, is it properly written? Third person or me and I are reliable sources quoted. Is it impartial or filled with emotion? Check the purpose, what's the article's aim? Is it trying to teach, sell or entertain? So don't just trust whatever matches your views. Run the crap test on all your news.
People won't do that, though. Because that takes time, takes effort, and you're doing one thing. You're challenging your viewpoint. And we know people don't like that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Bikinis, volleyball, and a hard no. We'll talk about that. Chad Benson Show.
Irreverent? Yeah. So what? It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chris Brimble, West Hollywood, California. Tech sales, huh?
Yeah, I work for a technology company. We sell technology that benefits older adults living in senior living communities.
Yeah, that's a tough thing, too, because technology and sometimes people are not open to new ideas.
You'd be surprised how open they are.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Well, I'm glad. So that's just a myth.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
I see.
Viewers took to Twitter over the host's perceived mocking of the contestants, with one upset viewer tweeting, "Thanks for making fun of people with a lisp on tonight's show, you arrogant, overpaid jerk, Pat Sajak."
Jeez, that's not very nice. Such a jerk, Chad. I'm listening. I'm trying to figure out where he did it.
Despite the perceived slight, contestant Chris Brimble went home with a nice chunk of change.
Chris, you had a shot, but she got that last puzzle, and you ended up with a very nice night, though. Almost all cash, $12,250. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Super. Chad, come on. I didn't hear. I'm waiting for him to do. I thought he was going to do something like, "Oh my God, what's wrong with you?" And it was like, I'm listening. God, people are so sensitive. Get over it. How do you wake up every day just like, "I'm so upset"? There's things to be upset about, right? There's things in life to be upset about. That ain't. I'm listening, and I'm like, man, what are you talking about? Where was this? Where was it? Please, somebody explain it to me. Didn't you hear what he said? No, I didn't. It seemed like he was no different. Oh, he was told. I heard it. I saw it. Ugh. Speaking of being upset, two German ladies, were interviewed by, and this is my new favorite radio station, Deutschland Funk. Chad, you spoke with a German accent. Cultural appropriation. They are two of the best volleyball players. I'm talking about, these are women volleyball players. They play beach volleyball. So you know what that means, right? Bikinis. You know what that means, right? Like they wear bikinis and tankinis and stuff like that. But that's what they do. And Carla Borger, who won a silver in the 2016 in Rio, so her doubles partner, Julia Sood, they're not going to take part in the event coming up in Doha, which is in Qatar, because the country mandates that female players wear shirts and long trousers. They don't want to wear trousers. They said, look, we're here to do a job. But they're preventing us from wearing our work clothes. Yeah, for sure. Und das, was we're doing, it's a job. It's a whole volleyball. Yeah. Chad, you're making fun. No. So they said, we're going to skip. I wouldn't go there anyways. The World Cup's going to be there. And I was telling the guys, how do you send a team? If any soccer player takes a knee at the World Cup to talk about racism or anything like that, you're in a country that is oppressive to women, that looks down on lots of people. There's been 6,500 people that have died building the stadiums. Most of them are poor people from Bangladesh, Pakistan, and India that have come there and just are a number building something. Yeah, I don't blame them. Stay the hell away. Playing the damn tournament in December, too. Also not something you're supposed to be doing. Get with the program. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Love hearing from all of you. Check out the podcast where good podcasts are available. Check out across all of our social media. You got Chad Benson TV on YouTube. You got the Facebook. You got the Instagram and the Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Have a blessed day. We got you over the hump because that's what we do. What? Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.